Welcome everyone to the Island Life podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 49 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 14 seasons under her belt, Ange.
Hello. Another season done.
And, actually, I misspoke. I had to add that. So 15 seasons. And, of course, we also have a Survivor newbie, the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his 7th season of the show. I give you Survivor F.
Howdy, folks. What a delight, right? Being here for the finale and on the night of the New Year's Eve. Happy to be here.
Of course, I couldn't have us closing out the year without marking off another season off our list, and we've just recently finished 49, so that's when my counts were off. But I think the time has come. I think I'm comfortable with this. And you can decide if you are also comfortable with this. I would like to promote our Survivor toddler to our Survivor kid.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God! Wow, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I gotta mentally prepare for this. I'm like
Let's
already
effing
speaking
go.
at this stage in my life.
You just developed
crazy.
so quickly, Survivor F.
Yeah, right.
You've been surviving babyhood, toddler, all the babies firsts.
I know. Well,
And
it's
I'm
no
just-
coincidence. There's been fewer babies and toddlers first lately. I mean, this season saw some of them, but you're steadily experiencing all there is. So I think it's appropriate. You've seen 3 of the new era, and then 3 of the pretty old era. You saw season 7, season 13, and now season 15, and then one more in the middle, season 37. So, I'm impressed.
Yeah, just let's hope the teenage years aren't too troublesome.
Not well. Let's take a step back. I did not pronounce you Survivor Teen yet. You just
But one
Survivor
day.
Kid.
Chill out, F.
One day we'll get there.
You're like 4 right now. You're like going in 5, 4, 5. You're
Yeah, let's
going
not
into
get carried away.
kindergarten.
I'm
right
a
now.
sassy 4-year-old about to get into those mood swings at a very early age.
Incredible.
And I'll tell you, it's not a phase. It's just not a phase. But yeah, regardless, happy to be here. This should be a special episode, I would hope.
Yes. So with Survivor China, behind us, what are your thoughts on the entire season? I think at least before I let you guys go, a lot of highs. I mean, maybe it's just because we're coming off of a season with more lows because we were just watching 49, but I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I think there were a lot of characters in this season. I feel like in regards to play or like I think there was a little bit of a lacking of play. I think I don't know, I think a lot of the talk was like lots of like I don't know, like villainous moves or being like betrayals, but I didn't find that many besides just playing Survivor, period. So, but I thought the characters, meaning like the players were very interesting, made it interesting to watch. The location China was incredible. And I thought like the game itself was incredible. The people, you could sway me back and forth on this and we could talk all night about it.
Yeah, that's so interesting because that was kind of my takeaway as well, in which the contestants left me desiring a little bit more. I felt as though one thing I like to do as we watch season by season now is, what sets one season apart from the other and try to take a unique twist in terms of how I review the season. So I would say we've had seasons where I felt like, okay, like the cast could have been better. And I would definitely apply that to this as well. I feel like there were some interesting contestants. But as a whole, like there were very few bright spots this season. So that's unfortunate. But at the same time, the one thing I did appreciate that I think this season did pretty well early on through the mid game, started tapering off towards the end, was the challenges, the games that they did. Thematically, I think, doing things in China and fitting with the motif, getting to see the Great Wall, going to the temples, just the aesthetics were really, they were on top of that. And it looked like, they put out all the stops. They spent whatever based on their budget that they were provided and actually made for like a memorable season thematically. But if you tell me in terms of like how the people played the game, it made me want a little bit more, right? We had picks and, we felt that early on, this contestant's showing this highlight and this contestant showing things that other contestants aren't showing. And it's odd to say that my opinion did not really waver as the season went on, where you would think that like, okay, someone else is showing something as an evolution to their game. They're showing a side of themselves that we didn't see. I didn't feel too much of that this season. I felt like a lot of people played it straight. They were who they were. And there were just some odd choices throughout the season, as I'm sure we'll get into. But for the most part, this was not a season I enjoyed as much as some of the other seasons we'd watch. I would rank it probably lower than some of the other seasons. The thing that would keep it up, obviously, for me has been the challenges.
Interesting. I thought, like, for me, the cast, like all the castaways, were like the biggest strong point for me. Like even though the last time I'd watched
Interesting.
this was a long time ago, like I basically remember everyone in the post merge for sure. And then um, I remember Chicken because he's Chicken. Uh, and Ashley because she's the WWE superstar. It's a good chunk. Uh, of people, but like I remember actually what are some of your most memorable moments? Might be a good way to look at it. Like
Yeah,
like a year from now, if we've watched like 5 more seasons by then, what would you remember from this season?
I honestly, I think we might have the same answer here. If I were to guess, I would probably, the thing that goes off the top of my head is James having 2 idols and still somehow getting eliminated
Yes.
pretty much near the end of the game, where he had a very easy pathway to make it to the end. That is just such a massive blunder that I would be surprised to see repeated historically throughout Survivor.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't get repeated because honestly, it's like, how can that even happen? And how could you let it happen? I feel like this is one of those things I would probably think for the rest of my life how that was $2 million moves you've lost. Like you had two chances to save yourself and you didn't use it. That's very memorable. I think in general, though, overall for China, I would think like the most memorable part is just all the challenges we saw. I feel like you're never gonna get that back. We're never gonna get those unless, there's another Survivor China part 2 I'm not, like, aware of, but it's just so cool how they pull in, like, tradition and, made them, challenges, and I thought it was really fun, or, like, the fact that they went to the Great Wall of China and had hot pot is like, wow. How many people can say they've done that, you know? So I think that that is very memorable as a season.
I think in terms of setting and theme and even extending to like what your rewards are and the challenges, this is probably as good as it gets. You're seeing S tier from Survivor in this season. Um, not that there's other good ones like A tier, I think, in themes and settings. This may be the very best, and I was impressed. So I'll definitely gonna I agree that with that too. Like I'm gonna remember just what it looked like. Although I guess like more what it looked like away from camp because like camp itself probably isn't that memorable, but everything that every challenge and every reward would be memorable. But okay, so uh both of you found yourself wanting some more strategic conversations. But in terms of just what the season was as setting, it sounds like you guys were impressed and enjoyed that part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to add a little bit more there, I think it's important for Survivor to do these kinds of things, right? We're so used to the islands, to being more tropical in nature, and to be able to get away from that and throw some variety and spotlight a country, at least that we might not be as familiar with. It helps you learn about the history of the country, and I'm sure for the contestants themselves, familiarize themselves with, foreign surroundings. And it's just a nice way to like learn a little bit more through a reality TV show you might be watching, which I always find to be an added bonus.
Although don't use it to learn how to eat hot pot because they failed. Sadly.
Yeah, no
Uh,
doubt.
I feel
well,
like with
enough
this set.
meandering about this, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's true.
Sorry.
That's true.
I'll
Well, with
just
this type of season, it was very like you got to be careful on who the people are going to be and how are they going to react with certain things, like in a place in China. It's a different culture, and it was like I felt like I was holding my breath for someone to say something offensive, which did happen quickly in episode 1, the first moment. So, but I think overall it went well. I think it went well.
yeah. But let's get into the episode. So we treated the last 2 episodes as the finale because it was final 5 in the penultimate episode. Nowadays usually the final 5 is the finale. Personally, I think that showed a bit because like the actual finale episode was pretty empty with only 4 people because that means only one challenge basically or one immunity challenge. Um and we'll bounce around a bit. I think let's start a little chronologically, not every detail, but just in terms of how many people are left in the game. So in the second to last episode, which by the way was called
It's like, hello, I'm still a person.
"Hello, I'm Still a Person," said by Peih-Gee. So this was Peih-Gee's swan song. She was the last remaining John Who. It's looked dire. She had previously won immunities to keep herself alive, and at this point, either needs to win again or needs to flip 2 people in order to target one of the others. Um, and it it looked like maybe it could have happened because maybe she had befriended Amanda, and then maybe Denise would choose that group instead. Um, but it really didn't go anywhere. My question is, was it in anyone's best interest to vote with Peih-Gee, or are you comfortable with what everyone did, which was everybody vote against Peih-Gee?
Heck no. I feel like for Denise, why would you? I feel like in Denise's, if I was Denise, I want to work with Peih-Gee. I want to work with, because I think against Peih-Gee, I could win. Like, I feel like Denise versus Peih-Gee, I think Denise is more liked versus Denise versus, like, Todd. I don't think she had a chance. So why would you do that? Like, I want to have a chance to be top 2, top 3, and they are already in a squad. I'm like, if I'm with them, I'm in the squad of being in the bottom 4 versus if I'm with Peih-Gee, I could try to get like, we could work something out. So I just thought it was kind of silly of Denise. I don't understand what was going on with that. I felt like I think she played a wrong move there.
Yeah, I would say the same. I think Denise misplayed in terms of she had an opportunity to bring 2 people with her. Perfect chance to, just throw PG a bone when she originally did. And, that could get you into a conversation with her where you both understand that at least PG's on the outside of that tribe. The others were part of the same original tribe. And then for Denise, like every time you hear her speak, she talks about how she's at the bottom, but like she never ultimately does something to get higher up in that chain because that's consistently what she's saying. So as a viewer, I was very confused as to what her win strategy was if she's just essentially aligning herself with her group. She's going to have to put herself over someone in that group eventually. And if you're just taking them to the end, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And, if they're close with each other at that point, they have no reason to keep you in their final three. Or even if they do, you're likely not going to be the person getting the most votes there unless for some reason you do some crazy thing at the end that can sway people. Like, so in terms of probability, yeah, like she's at the bottom regardless of if she's working with Peih-Gee, but it improves her chances. It gives her another shield to work with instead, like, again, put out the argument for a future vote where you're saying, okay, well, we've all worked together and Peih-Gee is from a different tribe, so she's the easy vote out, assuming she doesn't win immunity. I just didn't think it made too much sense to vote with that tribe and not try to at least change things up as you're approaching, like as you're in the final five, approaching the final four. I thought for Denise, she's making her own path towards the end harder. Like for me, it makes more sense that, okay, if you can choose two people, you're concerned that, I don't know, like Courtney or Amanda are tied with Todd, whoever you're thinking is the one, to look for whoever you think is higher above you, who's going to be number 3 in your tribe, bring them and then bring Peih-Gee, and then essentially win bring those two people in your challenge win, have a meaningful conversation with them, talk about who is the biggest threat right now. And I think for us, like we could, despite the fact that we're rooting for Todd, like it wasn't hard to see that Todd is the biggest threat. So I thought Denise, specifically Denise misplayed there.
In a world of questionable Denise decisions, this one actually I didn't think was as bad as the previous vote and the one after this. In this specific one, obviously you do need another person to agree with you, so it has to be Denise, Peih-Gee plus somebody. But on top of that, it is probably a fair statement that the number 2 threat was Peih-Gee at the time, because it is dangerous that although just like people were upset at Todd, but in the end they still voted for him, people may not have liked Peih-Gee, but there is a sort of, we felt it as viewers as a bit of an underdog story to make it to the end against everyone else. So I was like, well, if you're Denise, you need to get out Todd and you need to get out Peih-Gee, so at least you got out one of them. What happens what happened before this was horrible, though, which is when she didn't join Peih-Gee and Eric originally, which would have set herself up to be in the majority at this vote. That is a disastrous, awful.
Yeah, I didn't agree with that either.
decision.
I thought that was very bizarre. I just think that like she had another opportunity here to change things up. And I agree. Yeah, Peih-Gee would have been the second biggest threat here. But I think as a jury member, especially how I'm seeing like modern Survivor go, we talk about storylines. We talk about things that you build a case for yourself. And Denise, up until this point, yes, she's won some challenges, but that's been about it. Like her social game has been severely lacking. If you're the driving vote to get out the number 1 in your own tribe as you're approaching the end, who is deemed the biggest threat, that earns you a lot of brownie points. Like that's a bigger like gain for you compared to just getting out Peih-Gee. That's the easy vote.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, I agree. Todd would have been more useful to get out. I do think that in that scenario, like let's just say Courtney, Denise, and Peih-Gee vote against Todd, probably the jury will be like, "Wow, Peih-Gee got them the flip." So it's not perfect. Like you really need to get them both out. And if anything, Peih-Gee has actually been successful in challenges, whereas Todd has not. But Todd is the number 1 threat, so it should have been Todd. For the rest of them, I think it's kind of the same. Like for like Amanda, already was getting concerned about Todd, chooses not to do anything about it. Courtney, same deal. Although says that Todd isn't trustworthy, doesn't seem to care that he's not trustworthy. She's just acknowledging that she knows that. Um, and then Peih-Gee, she says at the reunion, maybe she should have offered Courtney as a target. Might have been more successful. Um, I think that's hindsight. Like it really should have worked. Her offering Todd as a target, that should have been able to convince somebody. So either that's a diss at the strategic games of everybody else besides Todd, or a diss at Peih-Gee that she was unable to convince them of something obvious.
Yeah, this could have gone any number of ways. And one of the things that we found out is like even going further back into the game, there were opportunities for other people, right? Like as we were talking about with James, one big wild card would have been, I think, like Aaron, if he had an opportunity, I thought he could have made it far. I think he essentially got screwed over in his vote. And if he was still in the game, he could have been one of the finalists.
Well, he was also the original. Like he had Courtney's spot because it was Todd, Amanda, and
Yeah.
Aaron in the beginning. So maybe. Um, we'll circle back to any details from the specific episodes. If we want to come back to them, but Peih-Gee gets voted out 4-1. Do you wish to see Peih-Gee again?
Ah, that's hard.
Yeah.
I I I think I kind of feel like a lot of times I go back and forth in regards to like for these like that I kind of do want to come back because I want to see them get another opportunity in a different situation and see how they react. But I feel like Peachy did not. Sometimes I feel like she wasn't reading the room much very well, just like how she didn't read that James was not on her side. Um, so I personally I think although I find myself like kind of rooting for her because she's been in the bottom of the barrel trying to claw her way out, I don't think I need to see her again. Some of the no are for me.
I'm yeah, I'm actually surprisingly 50-50 for this one. I am actually leaning more towards no, but this is a harder no for me just because I think yes, like there were things she could have done better, but I don't think she played a bad game considering. She was an underdog. Some of the things that cost her could have been deemed as misplays that other people made that may not even have been better for their own games. So I think maybe in another season, if things were going kind of in the same direction, she potentially had a shot to just win it all. Right. So and that's what makes it more of a 50-50 for me because she's one of the bigger what ifs. But ultimately I would say no, because like there were some things that she could have done better that cost her with her own game.
It does seem like everything changed after the throne challenge. But even that, like you said, if Sharia and Frosty stay loyal to the tribe, it's an amazing strategy. They would then be confident to throw the next challenge, vote James off too, and then we'd be at the merge and it'd be like all of John Who's still there and they would attempt to pick off the remaining, or they'd be tied, I think, at that point. But because her own allies end up not staying, it completely blows up in her face, and then we know what happens. Um, I liked Peih-Gee. I will not reveal if she comes back or not yet, but at the like you guys, the longer it went on, I think the easier it is to root for Peih-Gee. Now that left us with 4 people left, all original Fei Long, and Amanda, Courtney, Denise, and Todd. Now that Peih-Gee's gone, it should be very clear that Todd is the target. And that's like what we're thinking as uh this episode develops. And
Yeah, you would think so, right?
yeah, yeah. And Amanda uh wins this immunity challenge. And which, by the way, credits to Amanda, like late challenge run. She
Yeah,
turned
big
out to be
ups
a
to
bit of a
her.
challenge beast herself.
Swinging that
And so
momentum late in
now,
the game.
exactly. So now, can't vote for Amanda. It would seem in most seasons, it's all over for Todd. That without fire making being like automatic, there would normally be little that the number one threat could do, but honestly, it's probably Courtney that throws things into. I mean, Denise and Amanda, a lot of criticism deserved. But because Courtney doesn't give it a second thought, like, oh yeah, I'm going to stay loyal to my alliance, of course. What that does is that now the best Denise and Amanda can do is force a tie. And maybe at that point, I guess the answer is just force the tie then. At least that, because what would happen, by the way, is if in this era, if there's a tie at final four, then it creates fire making between the people that are tied, and whoever succeeds moves on. We saw that actually in season 13 that we watched recently. So I guess she should have done that, but maybe Amanda felt that I've been with them this long. I don't want to betray them now, because then if Todd does go out in fire making, he won't vote for me because I betrayed him. So maybe that's but the alternative is just letting Todd get to the end. So not great for everyone. Then that's, by the way, what happens in the end. Courtney, Todd, and Amanda all vote for Denise. So what did you guys think of this?
This was just such a weird sequence considering they understood that, like, we had them talk about Todd as a threat or being untrustworthy, having a hard time believing what Todd is telling you. And they understand from playing with him where he's been driving the votes, how his social game has been going, what sort of influence he's had on others. And this is not just something like Denise could be like looking at. This is something that Amanda and Courtney themselves are pointing out. So to your point, yes, while it's odd that out of all of them that Courtney didn't really think it over twice, like the fact that they didn't try to make a plan against getting him out was just very bizarre to me. And I don't know if that's something I should be giving Todd credit for, but it seems like a lot of that is also just not properly reading the room. Like, you have some semblance of an idea there. You're picking the pieces together. You're trying to solve this puzzle and you're almost getting it there, but then you're dropping and you're like throwing the final piece into the ocean somewhere and just not figuring it out. So, like, if I was in any one of their positions and I would look back to this season, like, that would be frustrating to watch. That, like, I'm seeing a threat, I'm pointing out to a threat, but I'm ultimately not doing anything about it right at the
Yeah.
end of the game when I have an opportunity. He's not even protected by immunity. Like,
Yeah.
to end off our last discussion, I was saying, oh, I'm feeling pretty good. I have both Peih-Gee and Todd. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, just lost Peih-Gee. I'm about to lose Todd right now. There's no way they're not voting out Todd. That is the smart thing to do. And they don't do that. And I was just very puzzled by why they didn't even consider that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. F that it's so frustrating to hear them keep on saying like we know this person is a threat and they don't do it. I feel like that's where Amanda made like her like it felt like Amanda had this like good thing going on. She's winning immunity challenges. She's well liked, and I think that if she wanted to have a chance, it was not to have Todd next to her. I think
Yeah.
that like I was not sure in the end of the day where was everybody thinking, you know? I felt like Denise was like, I could totally have beat Todd. Okay. And then we have Courtney that's just like, I don't even know why I'm here, but I think I could have a chance. If not, whatever. I didn't even think I could make it this far, and here I am. And then we have Amanda that's just like, I want to be a good person. I want to be a good like guy giving my word, but at the same time it's like, oh, Todd, I don't think I'm going to beat him, but let's just still keep him. Todd is just like, I hope I'm still here, you know? And anyone but Denise is what is going on with Todd. So I just felt like it was frustrating to see like all these gameplays not happening. Like there's thoughts, there's talks, but nothing was done. So in the end, it kind of just gave Todd the win in a way, you know? So I felt like, I don't know, it's just a little frustrating because I felt like if she played it a little differently, it would have changed, you know, and very close too. Not like she played it like several days before. It's like now this is the moment. You know, you have the immunity. You know, you won and you have immunity. You make the calls, but she did not make the call and took out Denise. And I don't know. I just felt off. I just feel like I do think that Denise, like, during tribal did not help herself. Like, let's say you were 50-50. I think whatever Denise said made it hard for you to wanna, like, keep her with you,
Agreed.
but I also think that, oh, man, it was just I think it was twisted in terms of she got the I think Amanda got the Lillian cut, you know? She got the, "You have this doe eye, you look at me, you're so apologetic, you're so sorry, but you did this, this, and that, though." But versus Todd, you're just like, "Oh, he is so, like he is very, strategic, he's very, like, he thinks of all these things," but it's like I don't know. Are we doing this because Todd is not apologetic or as much as Amanda is? And is it because I don't know, I don't want to throw in like the sex out there, but like, is it because Amanda's a girl? You know, I feel like a lot of times when a girl player does what a male player does, it's put out differently. And I don't like that. You know, when a girl player plays a certain way, it is seen as manipulated, evil, or being a liar, you know, versus a male doing it, you know, like it seems more like I'm they're strategic, they're a good player and all that stuff. So I just feel like I don't want to give out all the credit away from Amanda, but I also think that, you know, I think that she got the rough end of it of trying to play a good round. But I think that if she kept Denise, she wouldn't have that because she kept her word with Denise. You know, I think she gave her word out to one too many people and the people remembered. I feel like this jury was very bitter. It was a lot of people of being like, you took me out, tell me why and apologize or else. I'm like voting for you, which is kind of like, ugh, is that what the jury's supposed to be like back in the day? Because I don't like the vibes.
Well, not all. I mean, we've seen a couple of them. It's not that the case every time. Uh, there's so much to talk about with this. Before we leave, the final four for now, at least. Uh, everyone votes for Denise. Do you wish to see Denise again?
No. Easy no.
Yeah, I didn't see Denise playing much, you know? I think that Denise played a lot of like bad moves with what she's saying, and I think she plays with her heart, but sometimes I don't get why she's saying this. So I think it's a no for me. As much you know, she's a very sweet lady, but I think as a player, I don't need to see more of her.
There's a chance, like, it's it was surprising how confident she was that she could beat Todd supposedly, even though, like, at the end, I think her story is a little bit different than that, but that's what she was saying. There's a chance she was really banking on the outside the game factors. Like, if she gets to the end, she can say, similar to Courtney, like, you would have never expected someone like me to get to this point. I did what I had to do. And if someone asks the, like, what are you gonna do with the money part of it? Well, it changes our lives. I've been the lunch lady all this time. And there's a chance that could have been successful, depending on how it goes. Um, probably she, like I said, she needed to be going against Amanda and Courtney for that to have a shot. I mean, what do you think? Do you think if it's Amanda, Courtney, and Denise, do you think Denise can pull it out?
I wouldn't say
Uh,
she could pull it out, but I think she has better odds of
mhm.
winning in that scenario. I think at this point Amanda is gaining some momentum, and she's not being dragged the same way that Courtney and Denise were. Like, she's had her own plans that she's acted on. She's kind of formed her own identity. She's been out of like the group herself. Like, so she's been shown more like as an individual. So I think it could be a close vote and it could be anyone's game at that point, but I would give the edge to Amanda in that case. But at least like someone has a chance there, right? Like Denise has a chance there.
I mean, counterpoint, Courtney got more votes than Amanda. So maybe you should be comparing Denise to Courtney.
Yeah, but like one of Courtney's votes was from Denise. And like, do you remember the rationale behind it?
That's true.
She just wasn't going to vote for like Todd. And
well, and she did feel like. I guess that's the risk, and so we're gonna advance to final tribal now. When in order to win, a lot of people feel like they need the resume. They need to be able to say, "I shaped my path to the game and I got people out." But when you are that person, you run the risk of someone feeling betrayed, depending on how you did it. Like if you're getting out enemies, that's one thing. If you're getting out allies, then they could be bitter. So like for Todd, he got out Denise, ally, James, ally, um, Frosty, John Robert, ally. So that's four allies he got out. Two of them don't vote for him in the end. The problem, I think, for Amanda is on multiple levels. What you mentioned, Ange, in my opinion, very real in life and therefore on Survivor too, where because because she's a woman, it there are always the potential of different expectations affecting how because Todd and Amanda essentially played the same game, but Todd made it by being the face of it. It's more obvious that he's doing things. However, Todd felt confident enough to own it at Tribal Council, and I think it's very possible that Amanda didn't feel confident that if she had portrayed herself like that, it would have been viewed positively. So instead, she kind of contrasts herself with Todd and is saying like, whenever someone asked, why did you do this? Is basically, I didn't want to vote for you, but everyone else is doing it.
Mhm.
Like I that wasn't my plan. But that also just looks bad. Like, oh, so you weren't able to execute your plan then. So
Yeah.
I think that is absolutely a factor. And I mean the only cure to that is to see it coming and get out Todd early.
1000%. I feel like if she didn't have Todd there, all her plays would have been more hers, and also it wouldn't been undershadowed in terms of her being a liar. Essentially, they're calling her like Denise is literally like, was it Denise? No, it was like John Robert. Like they all just kind of basically said, "You're a liar. You lied to me, or like you gave me your word and you put my name down. You're a
Mhm.
liar." And it's like, but all the people, those other two people, also put your name down. And even John Robert is like, the only reason why like, John Robert ended up picking Todd is because Todd sucked his ass, like kissed his ass. It's like, sorry. Like
we
he
gotta
did
bleep
that,
that out.
and then yeah, right. Sorry, yeah. It's because, and then John Robert, and even Todd knows that like John Robert has an ego. He likes his egos being tickled. He knows that like he would like that, and then and he did. He like look at him giggle. He was like, "Oh my gosh, yes. He just called me a good player." And I love that. Okay. Thanks for respecting me. I'm gonna vote you now. You're the winner. You're my winner. So that just worked out for him versus in a way, nobody was really listening to Amanda, unfortunately.
Now
Yeah,
officially
I mean,
though,
like,
things.
go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead, Def.
I was just gonna
So
say, like, in a
Todd's.
oh,
You're fine.
go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna say that Todd, his performance at Tribal Council is an example, though, of why he impressed me more than Amanda did, even factoring all by season, because he actually
Mm.
knows how to talk to people. He knows who he should trust and who he shouldn't trust, who and when to get out, and he is putting himself in danger by kind of being the face of it. And to do that and it not to blow up in your face requires skill. So in the end, I was impressed by Todd for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
I
if
would
you
want to say like, oh yeah, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you think about it, like going into like the very end, you should feel very comfortable if you're Todd, because like compare what you've done to everyone else's resume, right? If
Mm.
people are bitter about the fact that you lied, it sucks. Obviously, if you get eliminated and someone does that, it sucks. But you're on Survivor, like you have to vote out people in your own tribe. It's the name of the game, right? Like you have to see that coming, that like no one is going to be making it to the end singing Kumbaya and like, just like dancing around, prancing around, everyone playing a fair game. That's just not going to happen. So I think the thing with Todd is, and what made his story easy is like he can speak to, I had a solid plan from the very beginning. I executed on that plan. I was in full control the whole time. I knew what I was doing. I was playing a game where, yes, I was manipulating people. And despite the fact that I did that, I have these accolades of making this move, making that move, making this move. Compare that to what anyone else has done, and I have the biggest resume by far.
Yeah, I mean it's the line you have to tiptoe across, which is what what will any given jury value? Because there are some juries that don't give Todd the win here. Like so in this case they do, despite how hurt some of them feel. But some combination of people is like, nope, don't respect that kind of game. Therefore, I'm going to give it to one of the other two people. So that was a risk he ran. But I think he was able to own his game and speak clearly about why he did what he did at Final Tribal, and even sometimes at regular Tribal Councils when like the jury's there. And so that's kind of the combination of things you need to make this type of strategy successful. But I mean, Amanda she still had a chance because her moves are also Ta's move. So what she really needed is to focus on the differentiating, uh, or something that differentiates herself, and that she tried. She pointed out at least twice that the move to vote out James was her, and that's how it was presented on the show. It was presented as she came up with the idea, went to talk
Yeah.
to Todd and the rest of them. So it it should have. I think that that should have gotten her at least another vote, but it seems that people kind of weren't impressed when you would think that's an impressive thing, and
So
maybe it's just because of everything else that happened.
ask yourself this, in a hypothetical scenario where Todd is eliminated earlier and it's the three that we just said, Denise, Courtney, and Amanda, does she not have the biggest case just by that? Now that Todd is not there to say, oh, I drove this, I drove that, I drove this. Now the biggest move becomes, oh, okay, who's the driving vote between getting James out, who had all this protection and ultimately still got eliminated?
Oh yeah, should be. I'm still perplexed that Courtney got the more votes. But you're right, Denise would be there in this case. I mean, I guess it's, does Todd become one of the bitter jurors that was like almost every juror here and not vote
Mm-hmm.
for Amanda? So there's that.
Who voted for Courtney? Can someone remind me who were the two votes for Courtney?
Denise and James voted for
James,
Courtney.
yeah. James
I
is
I
the other one.
wonder if like Denise like regrets voting for Courtney after watching the plays, you know? I wonder if that happens, like I'm sure that happened before. I mean, after 49 seasons, it's got to happen, but like cuz there's sometimes you hear these things you don't know that people say during their confessionals or to other people, but like when Courtney was saying like, this is not welfare, we like she doesn't like I don't want her to get $1 million. I thought that was really mean. It was very mean of Courtney. I know she's like like quote unquote queen of one-liners, but I feel like a certain girl could do it and it could become cool, edgy, fun, but then another person says the same thing and suddenly it's mean. I think it's both mean for both her and someone else saying it. So I wonder if Denise, obviously her vote did not get her to $1 million, but did get her closer than it was for Amanda.
Like you
So I
win,
wonder if
you win
Denise
more
regrets
as
it.
second place than third place.
Yeah. So I wonder if she regrets it because hearing that sucks, that was very rude of her saying that. They're like, she's a lunch lady. This is not welfare. It's like, Courtney, I'm sorry. What? I thought we're
Well,
all in different
Yeah.
backgrounds here. Why did it matter?
we can at least rest assured that she did not have to hear that again or be asked the question pertaining to that sequence right there, right?
What a reunion show. But hang on, let's finish Final Trouble here. Wh- what did you think of all these questions? We've seen
Oh,
emotional jurors before, but
these
this
were
was
emotional jurors.
interesting.
These
Yeah.
were they all had an op for one person. I felt like everyone was like, all right, F, you put this on, or okay, Will, you said this about it's like no one was doing a how did your game or tell me something. Everyone had a specific thing, you took me out. Why did you do that? Or you said this to me. Why did you do that? Now why did it became very personal, in which it felt very it felt like they had a lot of angst against this player, and I am here to tell you how much I don't like you. So tell me, change my mind. That's what it felt like. Change my mind, make me like you a little bit more for betraying me. Not how your game was. It's just apologize that you affect my game and got me out.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate. I feel like th- I would like to think in a season of Survivor that I would like as much as it sucks how you got eliminated, you would want the jury to be unbiased and just dictate things based on okay, their personal experiences, but just who is playing the best game, who's making the most moves, who's doing the things that drive votes, that influence things, that are winning challenges, who plays the most balanced game to get them to the end, who faces the most hardships that we should all be able to agree on at the end of the day. But if my own bias in terms of, oh, this person got me eliminated, rather than look at it, okay, this person outcompeted me, it's now I have to have some sort of revenge where there's no way I'm going to vote for him. I think that's unfortunate, and I would like to just take the bias away from it. And I didn't like how this season ended, right? Like it felt like maybe the only jury member that I felt at least had somewhat of an unbiased question was maybe Eric, and even that's a maybe, because it seemed like everyone else had something that they needed to clear the air on, or air their grievances. Or in Denise's case, she didn't even ask a question. She just went up there and made a bunch of statements, made a point that oh, if I made it there, the jury most likely would have voted for me, right? Just propose a hypothetical.
Those are
Again,
the
not really,
kinds that bug me for sure.
not even asking a question. I think that's the first time I've seen a jury member not even ask a question. So I just thought it was very bizarre.
Yeah, that I really don't like when no questions are asked at all. But I am here for the tea, so I prefer I like the drama, but I think I like the way Jamie does it the best. There is drama, but her question was still ultimately, tell me why I should vote for you. It's just phrased of tell me something bad about the other person. But ultimately, it's supposed to that question if it was an interview question, which would be weird because that would be like an interview with your competition. But it would be, hey, find a way to put someone else down without coming across as a horrible person and make me want to pick you. So Courtney failed miserably in this, where she basically listed off all the stuff that Todd did, and Jamie's even like, "So I should vote for Todd?" Where he's like, "I mean, yeah, I guess." And Jamie's like, "All right, we're done with you." Um, and then Todd and Amanda were a little better, so I thought that was okay. I actually did not like James because although he was nice, he didn't actually get us any information. So At the end of the day, just like make someone give us insight about their games or the other people's games. That's what I want.
This is what you look out for. Like, without even asking me if I like a jury episode, these are signs I will like a jury episode. Generally, if a majority of the jury will actually ask every contestant a question, I tend to like that. And two, what I was just saying, if they take their biases away and try to ask unbiased questions to see how the people are actually performing the game, I would probably like that. You put those two together, that makes for a pretty good jury episode. They don't all have to follow that, but I'm just saying if a majority of them do that, I would probably like it. And this one did not fit the bill. It felt like only 2 people in the jury asked everyone a question. One person didn't even bother asking anyone a question. And then everyone else either asked maybe one person or 2 people a question. Then they just forgot the other person.
Now, I will point this out. Some people's questions are cut out for as part of the edit. But my counter to myself is I think if they deem your question unworthy of screen time, then your question wasn't good enough to matter to the story. So I kind of so let's just say you did ask all 3 of them something, but they only showed us 2. Well, that tells me that your third question didn't matter. Like it wasn't a compelling one for TV. And that's what we're here for. We're here to enjoy the TV show. So I also count that
Mhm.
against you if it doesn't make the show. So in the end, it is 1 vote Amanda, 2 votes Courtney, 4 votes Todd to crown Todd as our sole survivor. And as much criticism as we've given Courtney, second place. I mean, usually you get criticized like, oh, you're just a goat, you're being taken to the end to get no votes. She got 2 votes. So good job, Courtney.
And the funny thing is, it shows you strength is not everything. Who was deemed the weakest guy and the weakest girl ended up as the final 2.
Who sat out like almost every challenge in the beginning. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, late challenge beast Amanda really didn't seem to get credit for that. It's something I do like, but I understand. I mean, it can be frustrating. Every jury's different, so some juries would have appreciated, winning all those challenges. This one seemed to not care really at all.
Right.
So Todd, our winner. What do you think of Todd? You don't need to compare him to anyone, but just as your winner of a TV show, what do you think of him?
Ooh, I liked him as a winner. I thought it's hard to not compare him to the other ones because that's how I'm seeing it, that he's a good winner out of all his peers. However, compared to the other winners we've seen, he's all right, He was good because everyone around him was not the greatest. Actually, everyone
I
around him was bad.
Yeah, I want to give him some credit. I think there were things that he did execute well. Like it seems weird that consistently people were essentially playing directly into his hands. And if it happens often enough, obviously you have some sort of influence over it. It's like if it's happening, if there's an episode where we have you dead to rights, so we can vote you out, and then we just don't vote you out, even if it's in our best interests. He talked them out of it. He did something that, put his threat level down. And then behind the scenes, like, especially early on, like the first half of the season, we saw the moves he was making, but like no one was bringing his name up. It's like he didn't exist. So I think like he played it smart. Like he wasn't showing himself to be a threat early on. The one person who might have like sniffed something odd about him, we joke about John Robert, like, oh, like, are you actually a flight attendant? You could sense rumblings of like, oh, this guy could be deceptive. And then we see other people start to realize that right as we're approaching the end of the season. And that's who he's been showing himself to be throughout the entire season. He's playing a smart game. He's playing a good social game where he's building relationships with everyone. There are so many challenges where it's like he doesn't even need to win the challenge because whoever's winning the challenge is going to just bring him with them, regardless of like what their reasoning for it is. So he's had one of the best social games that I've seen like in any season of Survivor. I wouldn't say he's the absolute best, but he's definitely up there. And I think that speaks volumes in terms of getting him as far as it did. It shows you how strong a good social game can take you. So I think as a winner, he's certainly showed that side more than any other winner that I've seen so far.
I think in the
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Go
I
ahead.
was just saying, I do agree that he is a good social player because I forgot in the beginning, everybody trusted him with that clue. And thus, that's why he had the most clue out of anybody to get the idol. So I do see that, yeah, he is a really good social person. And the way he read John Robert speaks a lot.
I really like Todd. Like I think a lot of, especially the seasons that we've gone over on this podcast, but just in general, there's a lot of winners out there that take advantage of right place, right times, like be under the radar, so that, which means don't make moves so that you're not a target. And then once the big threats are gone, and now jump in that the time is right and be there to win. I think that a lot of people meet that category, and that's not Todd. I mean, Todd was involved from the beginning. He explained what he was doing every step of the way, including at Final Tribal to the jury, had an excellent Final Tribal performance, and avoided being a target until really the end. And by then, his alliance was large enough with the majority that he was able to withstand being the target. Um, it's tough to rank without like a dedicated ranking show because it's been a while since we've seen a lot of these seasons. But of the seasons we've seen, which by the way are 47, 48, 49, and then 7 Pearl Islands, 13 Cook Islands, this one 15 China, and David versus Goliath, Todd's high. I mean, he's the top tier of those. Can't commit that he's number 1 on that list, but if we were tier listing them, he is in the highest available tier for those 7 seasons for me.
Interesting. I would love to see where he ranks like once I watch more seasons. I might say he's high for now, but just because it's like a low season count. I haven't watched as many seasons as you guys. For me, Rachel is still the clear-cut number 1 because the thing I look for in a really good survivor is someone who is very balanced, who essentially does not have too many weaknesses. And I think no other contestant embodied that more than Rachel and how she grew over the course of the season.
That's fair. And
To agree, I did
Todd,
love
his
Rachel. I think she played amazing.
yeah, Todd's one of his weaknesses is his style put him in unnecessary danger. And so he was able to use his skill to get out of it, but perhaps a superior player would have avoided the danger in the first place. So I understand
Exactly.
that. But the fact remains, I really like Todd.
I did too.
Yeah.
I would say so
Do
too. I
you?
do really like him.
Well then, all right. So I gotta ask then: would you want to see Todd again?
Yes.
Uh, yeah, I would actually. I would see him. I want to see him how he plays again and see like is that going to be like how would he because I feel like a good survivor player would be able to play it again in a different way or play the
Yeah.
same way but or like not like the same way but like be able to like mold yourself into your crowd because your games are different every time. The way your play differs depending on who you're playing against or with. Obviously we have not seen one where they're returning players, but I think it's hard for returning players to come back because it's like all your cards are out, you know? The real game is when you show more or what you're going to do differently this time.
Yeah, just imagine how impressive it would be for a winner to have to win again, right? Like
Mhm.
if people who
Yeah.
follow Survivor understand the threat that they pose that, oh, this person already won the game, they might be more on edge and defensive towards that player And if a player somehow manages to overcome those odds and win again, that is very impressive. So just as you're saying, Ange, like it would be really nice to see a winner such as Todd come back and show a different layer of his game and show, okay, is there something he adapted to which he turned something that used to be a weakness or did something that got him into trouble that he got bailed out by bad contestants around him, that he just doesn't even put himself in that situation again because he's learned from it.
Now, can you say the same for our runner-up, Courtney? Would you want to see Courtney again?
Absolutely not. I'm sorry. I don't even think she wants to go back. So why do that to her? Like, really? Like, speaking of Courtney, though, those questions from Jeff, oh my gosh, that is out of pocket. That's 2025 could never.
Yeah, I'm very surprised she made it as far as she did. I don't think she really had a strong game, but
Yeah.
like I don't yeah, I would not really want to see her come back cuz I'm not really sure what she would show that she didn't already show. And
Yeah.
I
Is
mean
it
that might
all
be
like,
that might be a
yeah.
little bit too harsh. Like, I think anyone can come back, but like she didn't have the most winning attitude or she didn't come across as someone who's really in it to win the game, and she's just kind of she gave the vibe that she's just there for being there, and if she wins it, whatever.
Yeah, I think that she was just it felt like she was picked out of by a random scouter from the waitressing job she had and was like, "Hey, you want to join this thing called Survivor?" And she's like, "Survivor? Okay, do I get to like, where I'm going?" And then there she is. Boom, she's there. And then, yeah, she's just been the person that, been just chilling, like whatever, if I go, and just every time is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm still here. I can't believe it. And the fact that she doesn't care enough makes people feel like, even if she makes it the final three, nobody's going to vote for her. And here she is getting 2 votes in the end. But, get what I'm saying.
Well, seeing as though we're talking about Survivor China, would you say she was Bing chilling?
I'm, you, and that is effing amazing. He
Had to
was
throw a
he
pun in
was
there.
he was I that was amazing. You killed it. I love it. For sure.
So, all in all,
Now,
it's been an
the
interesting season. Yep, go ahead, Will.
oh wait, you can't wrap it up yet because, well, first of all, uh, as the story goes for Courtney, your joke is 100% correct, and she did not apply for Survivor. She was recruited by like happenstance of just someone
Oh,
just encountering her, like casting, and they're like, you know what? Let's see if this person wants to be on the show. And she surprisingly said yes. And she in later interviews she would say like, yeah, I just thought I'd be the first person eliminated, and then kind of just be vacationing in China at that point, since she'd just be hanging out at Ponderosa. But for some reason they didn't vote me out, and that just kept happening over and over again. And
I
apparently,
wonder if
especially at the
like she's just like,
beginning,
just vote me
she
out.
tr
Let me eat, man.
well, yeah, apparently, and to be fair, I mean, this is her word, so I mean, she could be making up stories, but she says that there was multiple times where she wanted to quit because like, "I'm over this," and production was like, "No, just give it just give it another couple days. You'll change your mind." Because I
Oh
think they
my
knew they had great
goodness.
TV on their hands if as long as she stayed in the game. And hey, she got 2nd place, so that's almost as much as you could win. Uh, so that's Courtney. Amanda, would you want to see Amanda again?
Mm. I feel like if there was a second chances type of thing, she would do well in that. But if you want to do like an all-star really good, no, not really. I'm kind of like I like Amanda. I feel like she really grew on me in the last 2 episodes we watched, so a little late on it, but she's always been kinda, like, behind the scenes, you know? The only thing I got from her is that she's always blurred out for some reason, and, but, I thought she was very sweet. That moment where, she voted out Denise and she's, like, clearly upset and not looking bad in front of everybody because of what happened with Todd. I thought that was very vulnerable. You know what? Let me see. I think I want to say yes if it's a second chance. So, yes? Question mark.
No,
Okay.
I would say no. Need to have a
Okay.
high criteria for most people in this season.
Oh,
Otherwise, I'd be way too willing to like let
Damn,
a lot of
he's
people
saying you
in.
you
got
know
low
what? That's
standards,
fair.
Sage.
I know
No,
he
I'm
says that all the time.
yeah. Well,
For
no, that's just
real.
my criteria.
Yes,
I'm
no.
I'm a picky person. Yes.
He said yes first, and then he said no, no,
There's a reason why my first name is Survivor, because I've
no.
lived that life. I survived. I'm still surviving. But
Now everybody, you got to
anyways,
look through Survivor with the name first name F, and then you have to pick out which one is Survivor F. Which out of this, you know? That's why
that's
he's
right.
never watched Survivor. He's
It's
in it.
gonna
He
be
lived it.
it's gonna be the most handsome person you've seen. That's the only hint I'll give everyone. But yeah, we have a well, I have a pretty high quota, or I have a pretty
Oh,
high bar you need to meet. I myself, Survivor F. So she did not hit that bar.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'd like to think like Amanda did well, and she had one blind spot. So if she played again, she just needs to correct for that blind spot, which is like always be paying attention to who the number one threat is. Because she did a great job of getting her alliance as far as it can go, and herself personally as far as she can go, but did not do what needed to be done to get out the biggest threat. So I like if someone's gonna come back. There's like well, either A, great TV, so like I'm gonna enjoy them on my screen again, or B, it's like okay, they have something they have unfinished business. If they just correct this one mistake, they'll do well, and then I could like watch to see if that happens or not. So that's usually where I get excited about somebody. Um, Now the reunion show, kind of wild. I don't think 2007 is long enough ago to excuse the things that happened on the show.
Not at all.
Uh, First of all, like you mentioned, and Jeff just out of nowhere decides to ask Courtney about her weight. But not only that, but specifically just ask like, "Oh, so like, what is it? Eating disorders of that?" Like, I was like, "What?"
oh my god.
Like, I don't
He
like.
was
What answer did he think he was gonna get?
he was so direct with it where it was just so weird that like I don't know how that wouldn't be seen as controversial. Why is that like a topic of discussion here? Like what does that have to do with Survivor exactly?
Yeah, so that was odd. What else happened? They talked
Asking
to
about Jamie and Eric's relationship, whether Eric is still a virgin, just like very
well,
personal stuff
well
for some
that
reason.
specifically because we've actually seen him ask about relationships a few times now, but but he just asked if he's still a virgin, which he says
Just
yes
like
to. By
straight
the
up.
way.
He's all about that drama.
So this is future knowledge, but it would turn out that Jamie and Eric would, as they say, they started dating. They would become a couple. They would get married. And
Oh my
they even had
gosh.
children too.
Oh my gosh. Are they
But
still together right now? Oh.
they were together until 2024. And
Wow, that's
unfortunately
last year.
now, yes, so now they are not together and some nasty accusations is part of that. So if you want to learn about it, I can send you some stuff. I don't really want to talk about it here, but it was an
Oh man.
awesome like
That's
survivor
not good.
story for almost 20 years until like very recently.
Oh goodness.
Just watch. She left him
So
for Jeff Probst.
Oh my
what if I told
gosh.
you that Jeff Probst did date a contestant?
No
Dun,
way!
dun, dun.
You're
This
kidding.
requires a special off-season episode to discuss.
One day. Um, let's see what else. We had the Sprint fan favorite of the game award, I guess. Sprint gave $100,000 to James. So James may have been voted out with 2 idols, but he is $100,000 richer.
The one thing I am glad that they asked about in the reunion was just where James' head was at when he decided not to use one of his idols, like as he's approaching the end. Like that's the thing where I'm like, okay, that's definitely got to be asked, and we got to understand, like, what was he thinking at the time, because it just did not make any sense.
And he basically, I mean, he didn't really have an answer, but he's just like, yeah, I trusted the alliance. Um, big fumble. I mean, arguably the biggest fumble in the history of the entire game of like 20 plus
Yeah.
years. But yeah, not great. But I guess what's kind of interesting is I I I mean, I didn't really know this at the time because I'm just like a little kid, but um what I've come to understand is that he didn't just win this fan favorite award, but he legitimately like was a very popular player. James was,
Oh, no doubt.
Surprised.
Yeah.
even though he only made it. I guess he made it 2/3 of the way, so that's a long enough time, I guess.
Mm.
Um,
I'm actually surprised though that he was super super popular, just because I felt like he made such a big fumble on the two idols thing. But I guess that's what he is quite charismatic.
He just buries
I think
people. That's
it's
all you need to
I
know.
think it's more Irish people. It's more like, how could they do this to our sweetheart? Like
Yes.
like they view it more as he was stabbed in the back, like our hero.
No way.
Oh,
No
that's
way.
versus
so different. Wait a minute.
versus him messing up. And as a result, I mean, put their money where their mouth is. They gave him $100,000.
That's
So,
funny.
but
What
so
did you
that's
think
James.
of
Yeah.
What did you think of the other highlight that I had in my mind for the reunion? The other thing I liked was when they went to Jean Robert and were asking him, his thoughts in terms of they even had a clip of it where he's talking about, oh, okay, like, Todd, if you're part of getting me eliminated, like, I'm going to make sure you're not winning the game. Jeff went back and's like, okay, well, I mean, ultimately he did win the game. Like, so what exactly changed? Because Jean Robert was one of the contestants who actually ended up giving Todd his vote. And I just thought that entire sequence was funny, where they first brought Jean Robert into it, got his thoughts on it. And then you're thinking that this guy's a poker player. He knows how to read people. If anything, he would be pretty good at that. And then we finally have Todd admit, yeah, no, he was just kind of playing Jean Robert the whole time. And he was just like bullshitting him. So I thought that was fun.
That was great because so many people, especially after the game, so you're more used to cameras now. Like they'll answer a very political answer to a question. Like so Jeff would ask, "Hey, were you being truthful or genuine? Was he a biggest threat in the game?" And Todd would say, "Well, there's a lot of threats. So yeah, I thought he was a threat." That would be like the neutral way to answer it. But instead, he just admits like, "Yeah, I was playing. I mean, he's not a threat."
It's like, I understand he has an ego. Just wanted to kind of play to that, make him think what I wanted him to think. And he fell for the bait.
Yep.
Which is funny because, like, that's
yeah.
not how Jean Robert described it. He was like, oh, he saw me as a threat. So my ears perked up.
That was great at Final Tribal, where because of the way that Todd answered that, the whole jury was laughing because you're like, he shut him up. No one's ever been able to shut John Robert up.
Not only that, he got his vote.
And got his vote. Look, because you can stand this is a very simplified way to think of it. You could stand up to your bully at Final Tribal and be brave and all that. But you make them mad, they won't vote for you. But Todd turned it around and got his vote, got John Robert's vote. So, this is why, like I said, Todd, I think, great. Is a the more I talk about it, great winner out of the
And
seasons
then,
that we've seen here.
yeah, in the reunion show, just again to emphasize, went back on to, like, he was essentially making him feel good about his effort in the game by like, oh yeah, you're the biggest threat. During the reunion show where he's already won based off that vote, which Jeff also reminds him about, like he's one of the deciding votes. Yeah, Todd admits that no, I kind of just said that because I understand he has a bit of an ego. So perfect example of Todd just leveraging the social skills, being very observant, and making people play the way he wants them to play to a T.
Absolutely. I do have some Todd news, which is that unbeknownst to me, uh, he was a dual citizen. So he was at this time
Oh.
you need to be an American to play on the show. Like Jeff is like 16 Americans on the show. So Canadians can't play, but dual citizens can play. So he had an American citizenship and a Canadian citizenship at the time. Now it turns out that Todd, according to this, he had to renounce his Canadian citizenship in order to officially claim his prize money. And I think the way this is worded is
What?
there's like rules about prize money in Canada that are not the same as the rules in America. So you can't
Oh.
be a citizen of both.
Wow, that's
Well,
crazy.
that's good for me to know. So now I'll never play in Survivor. Again, I mean, of course I played
Again,
Again.
before.
of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
now it's obvious you didn't win a single buck, but it's okay. No, I'm kidding.
yes. Well, and also now you'll be happy to know that that rule is the any like I guess I don't know if any citizen can do, but Canadians can play now.
Oh, well, welcome in, F.
Well, I'll have
The
you know, I was actually the reason they might have changed that. So
Honestly,
no,
I
I'm just
believe
making
it.
this up.
I believe it, F. If you told me that, I probably believe it. You live many lives.
Too many.
My last tidbit is Denise. So we get kind of a wild story at the reunion for Denise that she says that she comes back from playing the game, but she's not able to go back to her lunch lady job, and she's saying that she's she's too popular, like a distraction and everything. And then at the end, Jeff's like, actually, Mark Burnett heard what you said, and he's going to give you $50,000. So a real heartfelt uh, thing, and she's emotional
Yeah.
and all that good stuff.
It was so
So
sweet. I love that.
yeah, very very nice. Unfortunately, it
Oh
would
no,
it would
Willa!
turn out that the next day after this reunion, uh, the superintendent of the school district would come out to refute Denise's story
Oh.
and actually said that Denise was promoted from lunch lady to custodian with better pay and additional benefits, and they had approved her being on the show in the first place. And
Oh.
after that, Denise would issue a public apology
Oh
for
my
basically
gosh.
misrepresenting what had actually happened.
I mean, if you think about it, her story didn't make too much sense because you would think that other people in any jobs that they were in would also face similar issues. So, like, you got to wonder, why would she specifically be dealing with that? She's a lunch lady. There's people in more like upfront client facing or consumer facing roles that have not had that issue. So I just thought that was weird.
That's crazy. Why does she do that, you know? And the crazy part is that she's such a she doesn't seem like someone that would lie like that. Like there's no need to lie. There's no game anymore. There's no pick, there's no survivor. So why was it necessary to say that?
Or maybe we just don't know Denise at all. We were just led to believe
Do we
something.
do we know Denise at all in the end of the day? Our
That's
lunch
right.
lady.
I mean,
Don't.
if she was willing to do stuff like this during the game, maybe she would have actually had a
Ooh.
chance to win.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah, throw
That's
that
true.
shade, Will.
You right. Yeah,
Let
yeah,
it
yeah,
out.
Will. Yeah.
Well,
Tell
especially
them
because
how you really feel.
this means she had the opportunity to just pocket $50,000. By the way, but she did. Although this is phrased kind of oddly, but it says she insisted on having the money be donated to uh, the Elizabeth Glazer Pediatric AIDS Foundation.
Aw.
So I think that makes sense because it was the next day, so probably like CBS had not yet sent it. So now they're not obligated to actually do this. They could have just not sent the money at all, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was donated. And the superintendent did say that uh, Denise's new job is still waiting for her once she returns. Because they could have been like, "You tried to defame us. You're fired." That's what they could have said. So just a crazy, we don't usually have this much at a reunion show, but a whole lot of stuff happened. Um,
Yeah. A lot of changes too, like if we were watching it like right now active, we wouldn't know about Jamie and what's his face. And then now we do, and it's like, wow, that's crazy.
Honestly, this is an entire interesting segment right here where it's, in a sense, off the island, like post-Survivor lives.
Yeah.
there's a lot for a bunch of these people. We've talked about some of them in previous episodes. There's more to the Todd story too. He
Ooh.
seems to, from what I know, he is A-okay now, but um he would go through a lot of difficult life situations himself in his own personal life.
Aw.
Um which I can give you that information later too. Don't need to break it down here. Um but safe to say that Denise will not return because trying to steal $50,000 is not a good look.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people that did return. And now I get to reveal to you who they are. There are
Oh my
multiple people.
goodness. Multiple.
Uh, yes. So the first, well, in no specific order, but the people that return are James.
Okay.
James?
Well, given
Oh my
that he's a
gosh.
fan favorite, not too much of a
That makes
surprise.
sense. Yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
Wow, our
Yeah.
gravedigger. You think he's still a gravedigger right now?
Ooh, right now, James
Uh,
Clement.
well, I gotta wonder what got him into that profession. If it's something that he enjoys doing, perhaps. But if not, then I would doubt it.
Maybe he just loves the job.
Yeah, you know what? I
Yeah.
love that for him. Wow, I can't believe James is gonna be back. That's crazy. Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
who will also be returning is Peih-Gee.
No
Will have another
way!
opportunity.
No, you're
Okay.
kidding me. You're
That is
kidding.
correct. Nope.
Oh my
Nope.
gosh! Wait.
One
Okay.
of the
I know
better
I said,
picks, I
did
would
I say
say.
no to PG? I did say
Yeah.
no,
I
but
was also like
now I'm hyped.
50-50 on her.
Now
So
I'm kind of hyped because they are reuniting. These two enemies are coming back together. You
Well, let me be clear. This is returned in general,
Oh, I thought they're coming
not
back
on
for
a
50. I'm
specific
so
season.
sorry. I got confused. I'm so sorry. That's my bad. I
But
thought they're coming back for 50. I got very like, oh my God,
I'm
that's
sure we'll
crazy.
eventually we'll see them eventually. But this is just come back in general. So James will return at some point. PG will return at some point. Also returning at some point is Amanda.
Yes! You know
okay,
what? You
that
know
one's
what?
surprising.
Slay. Slay. One thing I got right. Am I right?
Well, it's not really about being right. It's just getting what you want.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm glad. I think Amanda, I truly think that Amanda can do well. I don't know how old she was at that time, but she was young. Give her a couple more years. I think she could have played it really well. She could have
Just
been
throw a
like,
couple just throw a couple more sensors in there, just to blur things out.
yeah, I do wonder, like, is she gonna talk about that when she returns? Like, yeah, now I come back with a different wardrobe, so I don't have to get blurred out every time I do a challenge.
Well, I was gonna say, do you think she'll be just blurred again? Is that just who she is at this point?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Even though she's wearing like jeans and everything, full on, it's like, yeah, we're still gonna blur it out.
there's one more person who will return at some point, and that person is Courtney. They
Ooh, okay, no.
persuade her to
No
come
way.
Courtney?
back.
Oh, hell
Why?
nah.
Yes.
Oh my
That
gosh.
okay, this one doesn't make
That's
any sense.
crazy. Yeah. She doesn't want to be here. Oh my gosh. It's just
They
crazy.
dragged her back.
They dragged her back here
They're like,
another
"We gave you this
36
money to
days.
get to second place, and now we're gonna, like, drag you back and force you to win the game."
Is she a fan favorite? Like, you know how, like, James is a fan favorite. Is Courtney a fan favorite?
Courtney is very polarizing, but
Okay.
definitely like talked about. So there's a lot of dislike for her and a lot of love for her.
That might be the
Um,
appeal, the drama behind her. I don't know, but not my cup of tea, but
like
it is what
I
it
think
is.
there's more opinions of Courtney than there are of Amanda. But I
Yeah,
don't
I
think a
could
lot of
see that.
people dislike Amanda, whereas lots of people dislike Courtney and lots of people like Courtney.
Yeah, I don't think she's my cup of tea. So that's just my personal thing. But how about you, Will? What are your thoughts about Courtney? I want to know what you're as a Survivor master.
If Courtney could want to win, like strive for victory, she could be like an all-star like entertainment on my TV. Cuz Courtney was already really entertaining on this season without often not having a care for anything. So if she did care and was just as expressive and everything, making enemies, uh I'd be totally down. I don't think I would not be on board for just like the same story again, which I guess is true for a lot of people you might want to see again. But you'd want a different version of Courtney, but you still want like the same snark and and fieriness. Um, but yeah, Courtney, I like Courtney. I'm watching Courtney on the screen. So yeah, at some point in the future, you will see Amanda, Courtney, James, and Peih-Gee, which by the way means everybody else on this season does not return.
Wow,
Sadly,
Todd doesn't come back? I'm shocked.
Todd does not.
Oh, okay.
Well,
In
I mean,
part
I think
because of the issues that I mentioned, but also, only playing once, there's an advantage. Like you are forever like your one game gets to speak for itself for all times versus like coming back and being horrible or something.
I do like that it can be more unpredictable in that sense too. If you're just gonna assume that every winner is gonna come back, like it'll make it very easy to predict that, oh, this person won, so they're back for sure. Like
Yeah, I
I
think
think
on this
I was just gonna say I think the really surprising picks that would be out there. Courtney is surprising, but like I would think something like really out there would be like if someone like Chicken would return.
touching. Yeah, no, I don't need to see chicken again. But there are some first boots that I would want to see. Everyone talks about having this like hypothetical all all first boot seasons. So, like everybody, only people who were voted out first, which probably honestly would not be a very good season.
I feel like that'd be a terrible
But
season.
but well, no, but the dream is that it's all untapped potential. Like they got screwed over, they shouldn't have gone home. Give them a chance. But the trouble is a lot of these first boots were like self-inflicted, so then you just get more self-inflicted wounds ultimately. Um, but you never know. Um, so overall season thoughts of just like your time your time spent watching Survivor China and all that it had to offer. You can throw in the winner in there too. Like obviously, like if there's a bad winner, that could hurt a season. If it's a good winner, it could help the season. So overall thoughts.
Uh, I think overall it wrapped up well. I think there were some bumpy parts throughout the season where I'm like, ugh, I felt like very like I didn't like someone like John Robert. I hated him. So I guess it makes for good TV that was a good show, like a good season. I like Survivor China. I enjoyed the location. I enjoyed the challenges. Even the rewards were really cool. There were some peeps that I was just like, I don't care for. But then there are other peeps that I did find myself like rooting for, and like Peih-Gee. Like later on, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope you do it, you know. And you start I felt like a lot of times I was like, oh, I don't like you, and then several episodes I'm like, okay, I want you to win now. You know, I was like on a back and forth on it. So although I felt this way, I think it made it a good season to watch, you know?
Yeah, I just reiterate what I said at the beginning, where this season left a lot to be desired. There were some absolutely like good aspects to it. The theme, the some of the characters were interesting, but I think the broader cast could have been better. Like there were a lot
Mhm.
that I didn't ultimately really care too much about. Wasn't invested in their story. But I think in terms of location, in terms of challenges, the competition there, that was fun to see. It brought variety that was much needed to Survivor. And I think ultimately the right person did win. So like to
Yes.
be able to see someone execute the strategy and it work out was great. But I think his environment helped him out too, which is unfortunate. I do think he
Mhm.
was capable of winning without that. But like that just creates like these additional what if scenarios, and I think like that's part of the issue, that like it felt like there wasn't enough strategy as a whole. And it's going to be ironic because at the same time, I'm going to say that like there was a swap screw, which was very bizarre, which felt like it shouldn't have happened. But that was one of the other times that strategy was involved where, you're throwing a challenge and getting someone eliminated. It's just the way that it happened, that is not, again, that is not my cup of tea. So there were aspects of it that I was able to enjoy, but I think for me, this would be not the bottom ranked season, but like this would be on the lower end for me.
Yeah. I think the fact that Todd win makes this season better than it was. And I think I'm very like I think that's my thing about Survivor is I do the winner does depict how I feel for a season as a whole. Like if it's a winner, I like it could be a kind of season, but I'm gonna think it's pretty good. I'm gonna forget about everything, you know. If it was like great plays and then like great plays, but and then the winner is someone I just don't think deserved the win, um, or I don't know, just I wouldn't enjoy it. So I think that's my thing, like, that's more of an Ange thing when it comes to Survivor ranking is that the winner, it does calculate it goes into a majority of how I feel about a season as a whole.
Yeah, fair enough.
Totally fair. Uh, this I remember this fondly. I mean, out of our 7 seasons that we've done, it's probably so I said Todd would be, like, top tier as a winner in these 7, so season overall is probably B tier. It's, like, below the top tier, but what does it for me is just how I think memorable just all the set dressing, like, everything around what's happening in the game, uh, and the challenges. I mean, in this episode, we had, uh, firing the centuries-old like, crossbow challenge, we had the rebuilding the Great Wall of China, and we had all the rewards, and then the winner felt right. Um, what
Mhm.
what hurts it is a lot of it really falls on Denise, to be honest, because she could have flipped, like, way long ago, and then it would have been more of a fight between 2 sides. Because I think it really kind of is PG versus Todd in terms of like, strategic decisions. and Amanda. So he's like Todd and Amanda versus Peih-Gee. But because Denise never flips, Peih-Gee's side is just too weak for most of the post merge. So we don't really get like you said, F earlier, there wasn't a true point where Todd's win was in doubt until the final tribal council, like the final 4 tribal council, when inexplicably they don't vote for Todd. So that was weird. So that drops it for me a little bit, but enjoyable. And that puts a well, first, is there anything else you want to talk about out of the whole season?
I think we covered most of our topics well. Don't have anything else.
Fantastic. So next up for us, we are still speeding towards season 50, so there's a bias to watching seasons with season 50 people on them. However, that this time is going to intersect with the season I think a lot of people are going to be excited for us to watch, and that is the very next season, season 16, Micronesia. I won't lie, there's a lot of hype here. There's going to be a lot of pressure on this season to deliver because this is a top season for a lot of people. So I encourage you, honestly, to view with a little more of a critical eye because people claim this is one of the best. So
Really?
you can't be like, I guess what I'm saying is don't be afraid to be critical because this is a high standard to reach based on the hype for the season. So
Are you
there's
sure
my
you should be
little
hyping it
preview.
up before we get into it?
Oh, I'm taking that risk.
All right, let's get it. Be there or be square.
And also, part of the reason is that in real time, there was hype going into the season. Like as America, I did not show you guys the preview at the end of the reunion. Like America was hyped, so I want you to be in the same position as the audience was when they watched this season. So that way, if it does not live up to expectations, you will feel how America felt. And if it does live up to expectations, then you'll be hyped just like America was.
Ooh,
And
all
the
right.
rest of the world. I don't know if this aired. I don't know how.
If it doesn't
you weren't
meet
living in America.
expectations, I'm going to personally send their production team a letter, like however many years after the season came out, calling them out for it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, with that said, thank you all for tuning in to this episode and another season of Island Life. And tune in next time as we advance to season 16. Until then, and until we speak again,